Hello, today I want to talk with you about the file organization in Figma, and I want to show you my approach, how I'm doing that myself, but there is two different types of file organization. I'll show you the most detailed one that I would probably use myself when I'm working for a freelance. So I can send the final project to the developers or the person who made an order, and I would leave all details there, like all information, so we will not have any contacts anymore. The people who will proceed to work on that file can understand what is happening here. So the first page is a cover page, which means I'm just preparing here a very nice thumbnail for myself, for my Figma, to understand like what was the file about. If you don't know how to do it, all you need to do, just create a thumbnail, something that looks like a rectangle, just follow these proportions, and that would be perfect for a thumbnail. The second thing is an overview. I already found some plugin that can give you a very nice template for overview, so you can fill this file. You can add even more by using the plugin as a product planner. This is something that I'm using myself a lot because it's easy to have everything here under that plugin. So you can play around it, you can add more details about the product, about design, about the overview, like who was working on that project, what was the main site objectives, and so on and so on. The next thing is research, and research means that you can put here some feedbacks about the product, or you can make like competitors audit. Here you can keep the screenshots and you can keep the result of the research here. So it might be a couple of sections here, like it might be images, or it might be just a text field with different information about research. So the next thing I'm using myself, and I'm also separated by adding the empty page, which means all you need to do, just click the plus icon here and just erase the name. That's how you can create empty space here, but this is like more like a fake page. All you need to do, just erase, then click spacebar and then enter, and that's it. So in work in progress is the file when I'm working myself. So I'm doing some crazy experiments here. I'm playing with different sizes. I have a lot of different things here without any components at all, because yes, I can put some components somewhere here, like just in case for myself for the future. But once it's done, I will move it to another page, and the page name is a prototype. On that page, I'm just taking the screens that I have and I'm making a very nice prototype here, so I can play with different animations, with different interactions here. And this is like the prototype that after I finish, I will send as link to the person who made an order. If it's a freelance, if it's like full-time job and you have your like team lead, or you have PO, PM, whatever asked, or like the person who made a task, all you can do is just send the prototype, like fully working prototype. So people don't even need to go in a Figma, try to find it. And this thing only like for such a people like a PM, PO, maybe C-level managers who wants to see like the final result and who wants to touch it. And I'm also using this prototype for user testing, so I can share the link with certain amount of users, make some prompts so people can click, follow the prompts, and then get reward, and I can get some feedback from them. These 4 sections is more like for the handoff and for developers. The first one is components, and on this page I am keeping and I'm leaving myself all components that I created. So as you know, we have components everywhere, and why I'm keeping in here, because usually what is happening next, once you deliver the final project to developers, they need to create their own components. It's working pretty much the same as we do it in a Figma. They're creating the library of components that they can use and reuse again and again. And that's why this interaction between developers and designers is very important, because you're working pretty much on the same process. So I'm leaving all the components here with short description about this component. For example, if I have a model window here, I can add some information about this model window, how to use it, where to use it, when to use it, and so on. So all this information about the model. I can add some properties here like description. So this model is this height, this weight, and it's working like the max and mean height is here. Then the background color, that one, and so on, so on. Yes, right now we have developers mode that may help us a lot, and I'm already like working with developers right now on my full-time job, and I'm educating the developers and I'm showing them how to work with developers mode, and this will making our life easier. So the next thing is position. Let's say I created a new model window and I need to show where this model window will be. So I will create like a frame with background blurred, and I will just show and make a focus on this element that I wanna show for developers. If we're talking about the feature, if we're talking about the whole project, then of course we will show all these things here, like the position is the main screen. But if you're talking about the feature, we need to create like a chat window, then I will probably show the chat window is here, and then the page name is here, so developers will understand what the page, what the screen name, and when this chat window will be opened. So the next thing is a flow. It might be different approaches how to show the flow. So for example, you can use just different shapes here, like you can say, okay, this is the entry point, and then user clicking like on the something, or like making decision. If you know how to create this flow chart, then you know what this shapes about. But also you can use the real screenshots, like, or the real elements from the prototype or like from the components to draw and show developers and the POs for the future how will people interact with your component and what would be the flow. If you're talking about, for example, the registration flow, then we will show something like this. Then we have this model, a beautiful image here. Here's the image, and here's the text, and here is some inputs, and then we have two buttons. And then once user click on the button, we can make an arrow here and show what will happen next. And of course, it would be nice to have a short documentation here or description what all these things means and what should happen. If we'll have some animation, also would be nice to point it out here so people can go to the prototype. Like I'm talking about developers, they can go to the prototype and see what's the animation or what's the interaction type is here. And the last thing is a handoff. This is the most important thing because you will have something huge. You will have a lot of different frames here or sections. So you will have a lot of things here, like this is screen number 1, the component, and so on and so on. Then you will have another screen, and then probably here, as already told you, many developers today can work with this development mode, but some people, they don't even know, they don't want to learn, they get used to have handoff in their way. So sometimes it's happening and we have a choice whether we ask people to go through some of the tutorials and learn how to use dev mode or create very detailed handoff description. So for example, again, like this chat window, we can say it's here, and here in this description documentation file we will say and we'll show that this padding right between the chat window and like full HD monitor, for example, will be 20% of the max width of the screen or something like that. Then we will also show the max height for this chat window, so it's like 200 pixels, let's say, and we will put everything here in our documentation. So it has an icon button here, the button this size, and that color, and we'll put everything here. So why we need this handoff file? Usually we need it to put everything there so people will not have too many questions. So if something accidentally happened with you, and I'm not talking about something bad, if you decided to change the company, people can still proceed to work with your file even without you. So they will have less questions for you. And that is a very good practice, the very good approach. And I believe everyone, if you start to do these things, start to value you as a designer, as a specialist, and as an expert. Thanks all for watching that video. I hope that was useful for you because I was trying to find this information myself, and I would just when I started to work for a big company, because I used another approach for a freelance. And if you would be interested how I was managing my files, like, or the Figma project file for a freelance, then I can make this video for you. Please leave all your comments under the video in a comment section, subscribe on my channel, smash like, all useful links as always in the description, and see you in the next one.